Iron Fan Princess. Fairies are also ordinary. The 47th and 48th trials of the 81 Calamities. Protagonist, Iron Fan Princess. Weapon, banana leaf fan. Characteristics, an earth immortal with average magic, but her banana leaf fan can extinguish the flaming mountain's fire. Stubborn and fiery, yet gentle and affectionate. Weaknesses, quarrelsome and vengeful. On Green Cloud Mountain in the Banana Leaf Cave lived the Iron Fan Princess. The Iron Fan Princess was not a demon, but a genuine earth immortal, also known as Rakshasa woman. Beautiful and kind-hearted, she had decent magical skills. After marrying the Bull Demon King, she managed the household and family business, living a happy life. However, everything changed. The Bull Demon King abandoned her for the Fox Demon from Thunderclap Mountain, leaving for 2 years without returning. Her son, Red Boy, was taken by Guanyin and became the youth of virtuous wealth, making it impossible for mother and son to reunite. These events deeply saddened her. She despised 2 people, her husband, the Bull Demon King, and son Wukong. Yet, she never expected that the very son Wukong she hated would come to her door. Is it so hard to borrow a fan? One day, while she was resting in the banana leaf cave, a maid reported, "Princess, a monk named Sun Wukong is outside asking to borrow the banana leaf fan." Hearing Sun Wukong, she was instantly enraged, her face turning red with fury. She shouted, "Damn monkey, how dare you come here!" She quickly donned her armor, took up 2 sharp swords, and stormed out of the cave. Seeing the Iron Fan Princess come out, Sun Wukong quickly approached and greeted her, "Hello, sister-in-law." "Pooh." Iron Fan Princess replied coldly, "Who is your sister-in-law?" Sun Wukong chuckled, "Since I am a sworn brother with your husband, the Bull Demon King, and he is the elder brother, I must be the younger brother. That makes you my sister-in-law, right?" Noticing her silence, he added, "Your son, Red Boy, is now with Guanyin as the youth of virtuous wealth. That's thanks to me. Because of you, I haven't even seen my son's face." Iron Fan Princess was even angrier, "I wish I could chop you with 10 or 8 swords." Sun Wukong grinned and said, "Sister-in-law, go ahead and chop as many as you want." Princess Iron Fan was not polite either. She raised her sword and aimed at his neck, hacking down with a loud clang. But after over 10 strikes, Sun Wukong's head remained firmly attached to his neck. How could an ordinary sword harm him? "Sister-in-law, has your anger subsided?" Sun Wukong asked. "If it has, please lend me the banana leaf fan." It turned out that on their journey to the west, Tang Seng and his disciples were blocked by a blazing mountain, unable to pass. This mountain, known as the Flame Mountain, spanned 800 miles with no vegetation in sight, and not even birds could fly over it, let alone people. This was the 47th hardship on Tang Seng's journey to obtain the scriptures, the Flaming Mountain obstacle. To get through the Flame Mountain, Sun Wukong tried every means, and finally learned from the local keeper that Iron Fan Princess's banana leaf fan could extinguish the flames. So, he flipped over and flew to Princess Iron Fan's Green Cloud Mountain. However, Princess Iron Fan hated him to the core, so how could she lend him the banana leaf fan? She slashed at Sun Wukong more than 10 times, but couldn't harm him in the slightest. Realizing she was no match, she turned and left with her sword. Seeing her about to leave, Sun Wukong quickly blocked her way. "Sister-in-law, please lend me the fan." "You wretched monkey. You bully me too much." Enraged by Sun Wukong's obstruction, Princess Iron Fan trembled with anger and raised her sword to strike again. The 2 of them, one wielding a sword and the other a staff, fought fiercely outside the banana leaf cave. Although Princess Iron Fan was a local deity, her magical powers were far inferior to Sun Wukong's. After barely holding out for over 10 rounds, she was already exhausted. But she wasn't the least bit flustered. Seizing an opportunity, she spat out a fan from her mouth and shouted, "Transform." The fan suddenly grew larger. With the fan in hand, Princess Iron Fan waved it forcefully, blowing Sun Wukong away until he disappeared without a trace. "Wretched monkey, go cool off at the ends of the earth." Returning to her cave, Princess Iron Fan thought to herself, What if that monkey king comes back? Thinking of her husband being absent and her child unable to return, she couldn't help but cry in sorrow. Just as she was lamenting, a maid reported, "Princess, it's terrible. That monkey is back again." Princess Ironfan was both shocked and furious, thinking to herself, "This monkey really has some skill. My fan can blow someone 84,000 miles away with one wave, so how did he return so quickly? This time I'll fan him 3 times in a row so that he can't find his way back." With this in mind, she grabbed her sword and walked out of the banana leaf cave. As soon as she stepped outside, she heard Sun Wukong shouting loudly, "Sister-in-law, you've vented your anger. Please lend me the banana leaf fan. If you want to borrow the fan, first take another strike from me." Princess Ironfan didn't waste words and swung her sword at him. Sun Wukong blocked it with his staff, and they were soon entangled in battle again. Soon Princess Ironfan took out the banana leaf fan, intending to blow Sun Wukong even farther away. But something strange happened. She fanned once and Sun Wukong didn't budge. She fanned a second time and he still didn't move. By the third fan, Sun Wukong burst out laughing and said, "Sister-in-law, you may have the banana leaf fan, but I have the wind-fixing pill." It turned out that the last time Sun Wukong was carelessly blown thousands of miles away to the little Mount Sumeru by Princess Ironfan's fan. Little Mount Sumeru just so happened to be the residence of the Bodhisattva Lingji, who coincidentally had a wind-fixing pill. He lent the pill to Sun Wukong. With the wind-fixing pill in his mouth, no matter how strong the wind, Sun Wukong could stand firm without moving an inch. Seeing that the banana leaf fan couldn't blow Sun Wukong away, Princess Ironfan turned and fled back into the banana leaf cave, thinking that once inside, Sun Wukong might refrain from pursuing her out of respect for the Bull Demon King. But she underestimated Sun Wukong's determination. Back in the cave, exhausted and thirsty, she quickly ordered her maid to prepare tea. She was so thirsty that she gulped down a whole bowl in one go. After drinking, she had just sat down to rest when she suddenly heard Sun Wukong's voice again. "Sister-in-law, quickly lend me the fan." Startled, she hurriedly asked her maid, "Is the cave door closed?" The maid replied, "It's closed." She looked around in surprise and asked, "If the door is closed, where's that monkey talking from?" Sun Wukong's voice echoed again, "I'm in your stomach." As soon as he spoke, her stomach began to ache, causing her face to turn pale as she rolled on the ground in pain. It turned out that Sun Wukong had transformed into a tiny insect and followed Princess Ironfan back into the cave. While she was drinking tea, he flew into her cup and ended up in her stomach. Now he was dancing around inside her. "Ah! It hurts, it hurts." Princess Ironfan begged for mercy, "Spare me." Sun Wukong, chuckling, said, "Hand over the fan." Helpless, Princess Ironfan had no choice but to order her maid to bring the banana leaf fan. Hearing that the fan was brought, Sun Wukong said from inside her, "I'll spare you for the sake of the Bull Demon King. Open your mouth wide." Afraid of the pain, Princess Ironfan quickly opened her mouth. A tiny insect wobbled its way out of her throat and flew out. After emerging, Sun Wukong returned to his original form. Worried she might go back on her word, he grabbed the fan and left, saying as he walked away, "Thanks, sister-in-law." Once he was far off, Princess Ironfan let out a cold laugh and muttered to herself, "Wretched monkey, you've been fooled." It turned out that Princess Ironfan, knowing she couldn't defeat Sun Wukong and fearing he would storm into her cave, had prepared a fake banana leaf fan in advance. Sure enough, it came in handy this time. Her fake fan not only couldn't extinguish the flames, but would actually make the fires of the flame mountain burn even more fiercely. The thought of Sun Wukong getting burned delighted her. This little trick of Princess Ironfan became the 48th hardship on Tang Seng's journey to the west, the quest for the banana leaf fan. Although Princess Ironfan's scheme succeeded for the moment, she knew Sun Wukong wouldn't give up and would likely return. "What will I do if Sun Wukong comes back?" she wondered. "Maybe I should go find Old Bull." She thought of her husband, the Bull Demon King. What she didn't expect was that just as she thought of him, the Bull Demon King actually arrived.